What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the live Snap Decisions Pod. I, of course, am your host with the most, your Snap DJ. And I am coming at you live tonight, of course, as I will every single week. And I am glad you guys are listening and glad you joined me any which way you do that. Of course, this will still be on audio, which I know a lot of people listen to. But if you are, if you're around and you want to hang out, come over and do so. We've got a lot. Did I emphasize a lot? A lot of stuff to talk about tonight on the show. And there is just a ton of stuff going on with Snap. So much stuff happened today. We had a patch. We had a new card come out today. Of course, that's Aranya, which we'll be talking all about later on in Comics Corner to get you familiar with her. Who is she? I had to familiarize myself with her, too, because I only ever have seen her in a couple of big Spider-Man event books that I read. The Grim Hunt was one of them. Civil War, I think I remember her being in, but I can't recall if it's the first Civil War or the second, because they had two of them in the comics. Probably thinking it was the second, because I don't remember from the first one. And then, of course, what comics to read. You got to go back to a book called Amazing Fantasy, which is, if you know Spider-Man lore, Amazing Fantasy was the book that brought Spider-Man out. It was the book that Spider-Man first appeared in all the way back when. But if I remember my history correctly, I believe Amazing Fantasy was their last issue that Spider-Man appeared in first. Of that book. And then, of course, we all know what happened with Spider-Man. Went on to be one of the most, if not the most popular Marvel comic character ever. So they really brought her in on a historical note. But we'll talk all about her later. We've got a lot of stuff coming up, like I said. But first, I'm going to, I'm always going to mention this, obviously, I am part of the Snap Judgments Network podcast lineup, which you can see right up there on the screen. How Can She Snap? The kid and No Big Deal. Amazing guys. I've been on their show. They've been on my show. They're awesome. Check their pod out. It's always a fun time. Great to listen to. And No Big Deal. He was doing podcasts without the kid because the kid's on vacation. And hilarious. He did an amazing job. He got people on from his alliance, which is a great idea that I may look into somewhere down the road if people would like to be on the show at some point. But I thought that was awesome. And then he's doing their theme song with just his voice. It was awesome. And then, of course, Snap on This down in the left-hand corner. You can see the days. Sundays for How Can She Snap. My pod is usually on Tuesdays like it is today. And then Snap on This, that is Lauren Whatevs, Ben Roller, and Ree do an amazing job on that show. That is every single Friday. And then the head honcho, Glazer, has his pod, Snap Judgments, every single Saturday, and amazing guests on there. That's a can't miss show for you. He's got all the top players in there. He's had Lambie, he's had Binks, he's had Regis Kilbin. He just has everybody on that show. So check that out. It's great stuff. They always do some great content over there. And I've had the pleasure of being on there a couple of times myself. So there you go. And of course, that is what it's called, the Snap Judgments Network. So one-stop shop, as I've said before, for all your podcasting needs for Marvel Snap. So check it out. Glazer's actually doing a new channel as well for Pokemon. If you're interested in that, they're coming out, of course, with a new Pokemon game, digital game that's coming out sometime soon in October, I believe. So make sure you go and check that out. All right. There is so much today that I need to cover, and I don't even have slides for it because I wasn't thinking that it would be that big of a deal. I knew we were getting the new card, and of course I have all that prepared. And I also knew that we were getting a patch today. However, I didn't know exactly what this patch was going to be or what it was going to be about. So there was a lot more to this than just like 3 card changes, which basically was that was the gist of it starting off. So let me get to that first, and I'm just going to put that into the show here as kind of like a breaking news segment, right? So no music for it, but we'll just do the breaking news little announcement there. So okay, so we all knew that this was coming. Black Swan and Hell Cow were mentioned before as changes that they're going to make them activate cards. Well, they did. So we got these today. Black Swan, of course, is a 3/5. Again, I don't have the slides. I apologize, but I wasn't expecting to do this. Wasn't expecting to talk about this and maybe till another show, but I figured it's already out there. So Black Swan is a 3/5 old, and her new card is now a 2/3. So not as powerful, but she's now an activate. So until the end of the turn, your 1-cost cards cost 0. This is a really good 6-turn play. For bounce, you can stick her in there and activate her on turn 6, and boom, you get all of your 1 cost at 0. I would imagine she might even be good in Zoo now, because you can do that at any time. But Zoo is kind of playing all their ones that whenever they want to, right? Every single turn. So probably not. So probably a bounce card. But here's the notes. We revealed earlier that Black Swan and Hell Cow would be changing to activate as a bit of an experiment in seeing how the mechanic could be used to freshen up some older cards where on reveal wasn't quite getting the job done. We didn't reveal that doing so would also come with some stat updates. Making an effect and activate can be riskier because it requires playing the card earlier in the game to time it properly. For Black Swan, that's extra true, because playing Swan on turn 5 still won't be fast enough to get the cost reduction. Remember, activate resolves with your other plays, so you can't activate for a same turn cost discount. So we're dropping the cost to ensure more opportunities to get Black Swan into play. So that's why they lowered her to a 2. It's possible this update won't land Black Swan in a better position, and we're open to reversion in that case. However, the risk seemed appropriate given Black Swan has been languishing on multiple metrics. Yeah, she never was a good card. So yeah, we'll see. I haven't really been seeing anyone playing with this today. However, the next 2 I have been in the little bit of time that I have had to play the game today. So not a lot for Black Swan yet, but I'm sure it might be a card that might get some play, down the road as people get it figured out. But that's definitely not the splashy one. So the splashy one is probably this one, and it's Hell Cow. On reveal, discard 2 cards from your hand. That's his old. New is 4/6. Now an activate, discards 2 cards from your hand. So if we move Black Swan down to 2 cost, why are we shrinking Hell Cow? Well, not all effects are created equal. Being able to time the discard on Hell Cow makes it substantially stronger than the on reveal in a couple of key ways, not the least of which is you can now curve Hell Cow into MODOK without risking losing your MODOK. To reflect that shift in strength, we weakened Hell Cow a little bit while we see how strong it proves to be. Now, I don't really think that that's its strength, and I don't think that people are going to be mostly using this in just general discard. They might, as you heard there, but this card is going to bring and has already brought the return of Hela. Hela is back again. Hela's back. Tell a friend. She's back, guys. And a lot of people aren't liking it because, look, the play with this card is you're going to play your Hela on top of it, basically. You activate it, play your Hela, and then activate. I'm sorry, no. It's so Hell Cow will already be there. You're going to activate Hell Cow, and then you're going to play the Hela. The activate happens first. So you're going to discard 2 cards. You played your Hela already, so you don't need to worry about her being discarded. And then so basically you're getting 2 more cards discarded out of your hand to use for Hela. Pretty strong. And I'm going to, I have a deck, which I'll pull up in a little bit, but it's pretty strong. And I think that you're going to see Hella running rampant again. Regardless of her little drawback of the -2 that they gave her, it's not going to matter. If you can now, because sometimes throughout the course of the game when you're playing Hella, you might only discard maybe 3 cards, 4 cards, maybe. Maybe if the black cat's in there, that goes too. Maybe you have, 3, 4. Sometimes it doesn't work out for you and you don't get a whole bunch and you're afraid to use your discard cards because Hella might be sitting in your hand. Well, with this, you don't need to worry about it. And it's always going to guarantee if you get Hellcow and you get, of course, Hella out, that you're going to have that extra 2 cards discarded at the end of the game, which is scary and huge for Hella. So it's going to be back. And listen, it's not like people aren't going to get this card. Hellcow, everyone has it. So it's not like they're going to skip out on it or anything like that, or don't have it already in their collection. My alliance, people in my alliance have been saying that they've been seeing a lot of Hella today already. People on X are saying it; they're disgusted with it already. So just be prepared. We are going to go back into a Hella meta. The meta's weird, by the way. It's so all over the place because of the War Machine lockdown. I've got a little rant about lockdown that I have to talk about in a minute too, but I don't want to get off topic. Okay, so that's Hellcow and Hella, and we're just going to see a ton of that, so just be prepared. The last card was a little bit of a surprise. This is Swordmaster. They changed him, same stat line, 3/7, same on reveal, but they changed him to discard an odd-costed card from your hand. Now, again, I don't know if Hella decks will want it, but this is another one good with Hella because he's not going to discard Hella. So pretty big 3-cost card that sometimes in that deck, you do have Lady Sif, but sometimes if you don't get her, you're kind of looking for other cards to play on curve. Now you have one here that will not be guaranteed to discard your Hella. So I don't know if that's his best home. He may fit actually better in a regular basic discard deck. We'll have to see. I think Cam Best was talking about that he may also be working. He may be working with Scorn in the future. That's why they made him the way he was. So, but in any case, they changed Swordmaster and yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't think that this. Here's the comments here. Similar to how we updated Moon Knight, we've decided to create an alternate option with Swordmaster. We did debate changing the stats, and yes, it does look weird that Moon Knight is a 3/3 and Swordmaster is bigger. However, in addition to discarding an enemy card, Moon Knight just has more and stronger synergies: Apocalypse, Proxima Midnight, Stature, and even Wolverine. Swordmaster is X-23, Ghost Rider, and maybe a different kind of Hella deck. Given the gap and our Swordmaster deck's not feeling too scary, we decided to wait and see rather than preemptively adjust the power down. So again, it's interesting, but it's, we'll see how this plays out. I don't think this is the most impactful card of the day, but in any case, that was done as well. And here I'll show you these because I don't have them up as slides, but there is my lovely Hellcow variant. That's not it. That's my iPad being stupid. There he is, my Dan Hip. And then Black Swan, that was the Spotlight Cash one. I thought that's a real cool variant with all the other members of you've got Ebony Maw back there, and you got Corvus back there, and Super Giants back there. Pretty cool. And then I like this Swordmaster the best. It's going to come up weird because of my green screen, but that's my favorite Swordmaster. So, also today, and this was, again, something that people weren't thrilled about. If you haven't looked in your card in the card caches, not caches, but where you can change cards, and you go in and you give them borders and all that kind of stuff. If you haven't checked yet, there's new ones. So and there's the G-Man, and then you can see down at the bottom, Rainbow Cosmic is there, 1,000 tokens for that, and you can see here, Black Cosmic is also there, and 1,000 tokens for that as well. Again, people weren't thrilled with that news. That they put those in there for 1,000 tokens apiece. That's a lot of scratch, and for people who don't have a lot of tokens or anything to put, use, they're a commodity. you need to save those for cards. And so it's something that I'm not all that fond of. I know that it's basically a whale thing now, and even for whales, I think Nina as Noob commented on that, that she was a mini whale, and even seems kind of harsh for her, and I would agree. I think that's a little ridiculous. If they wanted to make it tokens, they could have made it 500 and would have been fine. You could call it a day. But I'm not going to waste 1,000 tokens on that. It's just the fact that you need 6,000 for a card. And now they're saying a border is equivalent in cash value to 1/6 of a card. Yeah, I don't know. That's a little weird to me. And I certainly wouldn't be. I like I said, I'm not going to. I whale too, but I'm not going to do that. That's a little bit too much. And so. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know what you feel on that or how you feel about it. But that happened today in the patch. Here's the other thing that happened in the patch as well. This is freaking awesome. Somebody noticed that you can now use emojis as titles. I don't know when they did this, but there you go. There's my emoji title of my deck. Not a big deal, right? Just kind of a weird little cosmetic thing. But that is my Storm Lock deck. So there you go. Storm Lock. And then I have this one, and this is Jane Foster Lockjaw deck. So there it is. You got Jane up there with the pitchfork and the little dog. So Jane Jaw, which I think that's neat. I was playing around with it a little bit before, but yeah, that's kind of cool. I think with an iPhone you can make your own emojis, and I have a Galactus card that I kind of cropped with the iPhone and made him a little sticker. So if I'm not mistaken, I think you can use those as emojis. So technically I can use the Galactus emoji. So I'll see if that works. But anyway, and then last but not least, we've had a bounty boost week, which has started. This is a double points for all move bounties all week. So for people who want to play move, you get double points rather, 2 times points for all move related bounties, 2 times points for winning with move cards, increased appearance for move cards bounties, 2 times points for winning with Agatha, and related cards, Wiccan, Speed, Scarlet Witch, and Vision. They're really hyping up that Agatha series, which, by the way, starts tomorrow, the 18th. This is a good week for superhero stuff. We got the Agatha thing tomorrow, and then I think it's 2 episodes they always start out with. And then for DC, if you're a DC fan, there's Penguin. Penguin is the Penguin series that's going to be on Max. That's, of course, Robert Pattinson's Batman, starts on the 19th. So, hello, Gungrave. How are you? Nice to see you as well. Thanks for joining the chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's cool to be live. Something a little different, but I thought it's, kind of neat, right? That people that listen can still listen, and I can goof around on YouTube. So, appreciate you coming out. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, so that's essentially the patch, and yeah, so that's what we got today. And like it or not, Hella is back. Like it or not, Hella is back. So, all right, we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes here. We're gonna go into obviously my weekend snap, and of course the meta report. So first of all, I'm gonna go over some decks here. This is some decks that I've been playing throughout the course of this past week and been messing around with. Played a little on ladder. Again, not much. I tend to avoid ladder when the meta is weird. And the meta is very weird. So I tend to avoid it because I end up trying to practice a bunch of decks and play with a bunch of different decks. And then I end up going into Conquest to do that. I got the Conquest Doc, by the way, today. So I haven't played a whole lot on ladder, but I have messed around with a lot of different decks. So this is the first one. This is War She-Not. And this, of course, is War Machine in there. You got, it's basically an Infinite. It's basically She-Hulk Infinite deck. So this is the one where you could skip, you could skip a turn. Don't play on turn 5, and then you get the free She-Hulk, and you get the free Infinite to play on your last turn. So Sunspot, Nebula, Squirrel Girl, Ebony Maw, Marvel Boy, Storm. Of course, Ebony Maw's in there for the War Machine. Infinite's there as well. So you got multiple play lines here. Storm to shut down a lane. Legion, so you could do the Storm Legion combination too, which is kind of gross. But that's in there. You got Kair to protect all those ones. Hope Summers to give you that extra boost. You got War Machine. You've got, and then, of course, She-Hulk and Infinite. Kaira, of course, will protect them also from Shang-Chi. So this was neat. And I'm trying to think who I got this from. I think this might have been Zombies Go Nom Nom's deck, I think. And it's pretty good. You know, this is I talked about last week about the No Big Deals deck, right? Well, this is kind of similar. You have the ones in there, right? You have the Squirrel Girl, Sunspot, Nebula, and even now Ebony Maw, and you have the Marvel Boy. And he came up with his deck that was very similar to had that too, but he went more with the negative route. I think let me see if I still have that deck. I know I do because I enjoyed it. But so it's very similar to that, but Zombies basically added the lockdown to it, which is the Storm, the Legion, the War Machine, all that kind of stuff. And then you could still end up getting, you could play the Infinite just plain outright on turn 6 if you don't get the She-Not combo, or if you don't get the War Machine, you're okay. You could still play She-Not if you skip a turn. And like I said, there's just a lot of things going on with this, and yeah, it's just fun. It's just a fun deck. So, all right. Next one I've got is this is, of course, is, oh my God, I can't be more thrilled that my girl is back. Agatha, you know what she basically said to me, right? Remember, listen, if you've been following me since the beginning of this show, I had always had a thing on this show every single weekend called Weekends with Agatha. I would use Agatha to do my weekend missions. Well, they made it real tough on me the last 3-4 months. I couldn't do it because you have to play all, like, now you have to play on weekend missions the new cards. So they make you play like the certain deck types, right? With the cards from this month, it's move. Well, try playing Agatha in a move deck, and it's forget it. You're asking for trouble. So, you know, but I am thrilled she's back, and she's very playable right now, which is really awesome. She even has some decks on the meta, and this is one of them. This is Zombies Go Nom Nom's Agatha list. You can see the cards there: Silver Sable, Black Knight, Domino, Moon Knight, Lady Sif, Wave, Ghost Rider, Proxima Midnight, Legion, Stature, Spider Woman, and Agatha. So again, you know, the whole thing is she's only playing even turns for you. So you can see here, there's a lot of odd cards in the deck. So that's on purpose because she's only playing even turns. Wave, you could just wave her out and then just play what you need to play the rest of the game. Stature, of course, is in there for discarding. She's going to just be a 1/7 you could throw out. This is just, you know, some big stuff you can get out there. Ghost Rider can get something bigger back for you. He can get the Agatha back out if if she discarded herself with Wave, or played herself out with Wave. There's just different things you could do here, and so yeah, kind of cool. But there are others that have Agatha in as well. We'll get to. Ongoing is back. This is cool. This is, I think, Binks's list. Howard the Duck, Ebony Maw. Again, you're looking at a combination here with War Machine list. No Infinite in this. So basically, War Machine is in here to just stop your opponent from playing cards. You know, they're going to be able to not play in lanes you can play into, basically. No Storm or anything in this deck, so you're not really locking them out at all. But, you know, War Machine's going to let you basically play that Ebony Maw down on turn 5, which in many cases people just don't expect it. It's a 1/7 coming down, and plus Ebony Maw is going to get bonus. If you get the Spectrum down, he's going to get that bonus from Spectrum because he does have an ongoing ability. Goose is just a good card now because they can't play any big cards on that lane. U.S. Agent, guys. U.S. Agent can take a lane out by himself. If you play him a little bit later on and they can't avoid it, and they've got a big bunch of big cards in a lane, he just can take that lane out. Just alone can take that lane out. You got Cosmo in here, which Cosmo is really, really good now against all of those Symbiote decks, the Unrevealed decks, the Wong decks, the Zola decks, all that kind of stuff. Cosmo's very good. Luke Cage is in here for Man-Thing purposes, basically. You can play Luke Cage out. You won't get the Man-Thing. The Man-Thing won't be bothering you. Man-Thing's another card that can easily solo lane. If you're playing Zoo, that Man-Thing will take out one of those Zoo lanes for you. And won't hurt you much. Speed is just there, obviously, because he's easy to get out, and easy 3/7, 3/8. And also, again, ongoing. They're all ongoing cards, including War Machine himself, and then you get that Spectrum out in the last turn. So ongoing is back. Pretty cool. I enjoy ongoing. It's not a hard deck to play. It's kind of a no brains deck. You don't really need a lot of deep thought to play this, as opposed to all the move decks that are going around. Next up, we've got Warlock. So this is War Machine Lockdown. This is the one. This is the meta one. This is the one everybody hates. This is, of course, Nebula, Hydra Bob, Hawkeye, Jeff, Storm, Red Guardian, Makari, Iron Lad, War Machine, Claw, Legion, and Doom. And I just realized I didn't read off the other two decks, so I'm doing my audio people a disservice. So before I go into this one, I'm going to go back quick. So I didn't read all these off. So I think I read this one. I read Zombies. Yes, I did. I didn't read the ongoing off. Howard the Duck, Ebony Maw, Goose, Armor, U.S. Agent, Lizard, Cosmo, Luke Cage, Speed, Man-Thing, War Machine, and Spectrum. Okay. Sorry, audio peeps. All right. So this, Nebula, Hydra Bob, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Jeff, Storm, Red Guardian, to shut off any of those opposing Madam Webs that may want to move stuff around. Makari, Iron Lad, allows you another way to get down to your War Machine, Claw as well, and then Legion and Doom. So this is the one you're kind of all in on trying to get that Legion Storm lock where you'll be able to play, and they can't. If you don't get it, you do have other options available. Hydra Bob has been a great card, by the way. You can move him around the board and stuff by snapping. Red Guardian's real good to shut down something. Dr. Doom at the end is going to win you games sometimes. Legion just can win if you don't get the combination with Storm by himself. You can just pick a lane that you know is going to be a detriment to them and play Legion there. Claw will get you into the Storm lanes if you don't end up getting War Machine out. So, yeah, just a lot of good cards in this deck, and this deck is doing very well in the meta right now. Next up, we have the Tens deck. Now, I haven't totally given up on this. I know that, and again, this is Zombies' version of this. Nico, Hydra Bob, White Widow, Hawkeye, Mysterio, Cosmo, Miles, Crossbones, Cole, Arrow, Sasquatch, and Scar. Now, you may ask, well, number one, it changed because Mockingbird. Mockingbird used to be in this deck. Mockingbird got cut to a 9, so not in here anymore. It's not going to help your cause really a lot with the Cull Obsidian, which that's what you're looking to do in this. Or I'm sorry, the Scar, to get out the cheap Scar at the end of the game. So you need another 10 in here. So Arrow's in it, and that's the reason Miles is in it, because you can move things around a little bit. Now you can also use Nico to move, and you can snap Hydra Bob to move. So there's other ways to get him going, but Arrow's in here to be a 10, just another big body. And so, yeah, this is just similar to Gunny's original Big Dumb Idiots. This is just a bunch of big dumb cards that you want to play. Now, it's probably not as good as the one with Mockingbird because Mysterio is just getting out the cheap Mockingbird. So is Kate Bishop playing the arrows and stuff. You're getting out a very cheap Mockingbird. Many times you got the Scar out for like 2 by the end of the game. And then you can get a Mockingbird out in the last lane or in the last turn, and that could be a 0 or a 1. So many times you can end up with a 21 power play on your last turn. So probably not going to be as good, but I played it and still fun. The little bit I played on ladder, this was doing pretty well for me, especially with the Cosmo in there. And again, the Cosmo is really good right now against a lot of those other decks. So just an option if you were playing the Tens deck, you can still play it. It's just not as effective or as broken maybe as it was with Mockingbird. I'm pretty sure that's why they nerfed Mockingbird to begin with, was because of her inclusion in this deck. Another Agatha deck right here. This is Husky Puppies. You know him as he's the Hella guy. He's the Hella guy. Been on KM Best channel many, many times. He's a top infinite player. Very, very great Hella player. And this is an Agatha deck from him. So this is Black Knight, Hydra Bob, Moon Knight, Makari, Lady Sif, Wave, Ghost Rider, Claw, Black Bolt, Legion, Stature, and Agatha. So, again, this is just, your Black Knight can be anything that you end up discarding with Moon Knight or Lady Sif. You're just getting another card out that you're going to be able to get back up with Ghost Rider again, Claw, just to get that extra points into the lane. Of course, we know the Black Bolt Stature combo. But again, when you look at this, you have all odd cards except for Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is the only card that Agatha can really play if you get stuck that way. If you don't get, you don't wave her out early, or she doesn't get discarded by Lady Sif. Now, when I played this, that's what happened. I discarded Agatha with Lady Sif, so she's gone, but then I bring her back with Ghost Rider. So that's a pretty good play here too. So this is a pretty good list. And then you're getting that Black Knight too. So imagine you put Black Knight down. Let's say you play Lady Sif on turn 3, right? And you get rid of Agatha. Well, now you're going to have a Black Knight that's going to be a 14 from Agatha. And then let's say you get Ghost Rider and you bring her right back with Ghost Rider. There's 2 huge turns. You're gonna have a 4/14 sword, the sword from Black Knight, and you're gonna have an 18 basically lane with Agatha and Ghost Rider in the lane. So pretty good stuff. That's pretty good stuff. And So yeah, this is a fun deck too. So good deck from Husky Puppies here. This one's fun. Now, these are some I've got from I've listened to this podcast for a long time. I'll shout them out. Of course, Zombies was on my show. Zombies Go Nom Nom. He's on a podcast called Born to be Cosmo, and it's great. I love them. I listen to them every time they have the pod out. It's not out a lot or every single week, but they get it out when they can. And this is some of the decks I got from there. They're playing Lockjaw, which I haven't really heard of people playing Lockjaw, but it does make a lot of sense with certain cards that are out now, especially with Madam Web. Get that Lockjaw out there, and you can now start moving cards out of that Lockjaw lane. So play Madam Web in the same lane you have Lockjaw. And then you could start going nuts. You play the Wasp in there, you pull it, and your goal is to pull out these big, huge cards. You got another bunch of big, dumb idiots here. You got Arrow in at 5/10 that could disrupt the board. A big red Hulk. You got a big Scar. You got a big Hulk itself, and you got a Magneto. So just a lot of big cards that can come out of that Lockjaw lane, and then you could just go whoop, whoop, move them away from the Madam Web Lockjaw lane, and just keep piling them out, and just keep putting the cards back in and keep getting them on, keep getting them out all over again. So, and then you can move your big guys around too, which gives you a lot of leeway, where if you think somebody's going to Shang you, if somebody's going to play, Shang-Chi's not very prominent right now, but if they see that big lane sitting there with 2 big idiots in there, it's a very Shangable lane. You can now move it out of there. So at least you'll save maybe one of them. But yeah, this was pretty cool. This is Wasp, Madam Web, Psylocke, Hawkeye, Jubilee, Lockjaw, High Evolutionary. So it is High Evo. You're getting that little ping from the Wasp. And then you're also getting the growth from the Hulk. So that's really why High Evo's in here. Red Hulk, Scar, Hulk, and Magneto for that last turn disruption. So, yeah. So I tried it a few times. It's pretty fun. Okay. All right. So they're the decks of the week that I have been messing around with. And, yeah. So we're going to get into the meta a little bit out toward the end of the segment. The meta is, as I said, it's all over the place. You're seeing a lot of the War Machine lockdown decks, which people are kind of upset about, because once you get that, you're done. If you don't have a War Machine of your own out, and you don't have like a Jeff in your hand, you're just screwed. You just lose. And so yeah, there's a lot of that being played. There's a lot of Agatha being played. Still a lot of Zoo. I've seen a lot of Zoo out there still. Trying to think what other decks that I saw a lot. Move decks. Of course, I saw my first Phoenix Force deck today, which is pretty nasty. And now they are using Aranya in the deck, which I kind of figured they probably would. And a lot of those decks have Nimrod. So now Aranya can hit Nimrod. They can, bounce the Nimrods around with Venom and Carnage. The Aranya can hit like their multiple man, which I had to retreat from a game because of that. They got their Wombo combo. They got that where they played Aranya into the multiple man. They killed the multiple man. They brought the multiple man back with Phoenix Force, and now you've got a very big. That multiple man is now a 5. With Phoenix Force, I think it becomes a 13. So you've got a very big boy that can move around and give clones of himself at a 13. So I did see that today. I haven't seen much of that going around, but I did see it today. So there's that. There's regular move as well, still with Madam Web, and you get the dagger and all that kind of stuff, and so just regular move. Although I don't think regular move is still that much of a threat, at least that I'm seeing anyway. So that is essentially the meta. The meta is kind of crazy right now, and I'm sure it's going to remain that way. Of course, we're going to see hell a lot in the meta too. So okay. All right, I'm going to go to the variants section here. I'll show you guys some variants that I got through the course of this week. This one, I was glad this came back because I wasn't able to pick it up in the shop the day that it came out, but some of you already have it. I love using the black matte border on comic books. Just makes them very, very, they just pop out. And this one's cool, man. This is not a book I ever owned. I didn't really read a lot of Black Panther much growing up. Most of the time when I saw him were in team-up books. So when I would read Spider-Man, he teamed up with Spider-Man a lot. But I didn't read a lot of Black Panther comics, so I do not own this. And I've never seen it before, but I think it's really neat, man. You just see the color, like the light hitting him there. And of course, the Panther suit, the bluish black suit that he wears. But then the light hitting him just makes it look really cool. I love this, the inks to this, the artwork to this. And I will be trying to split and get these inked eventually. Now, these are some of the cards I don't play with very often. I haven't really played with Black Panther very much. I wasn't one to do the Black Panther Zola stuff a lot. Even with the symbiote Spider-Man thing, I wasn't doing it a lot. So I don't have a lot of splits for him, but very, very cool variant nonetheless. And I love these comic book variants. They bring back a lot of memories. The Marvel Comics group thing up on the top and the comic symbol on the left side. I absolutely love this. The symbiote Spider-Man, of course, this is on the collection track. So if you have the season pass, you can get this too. I was able to finish the track and I got him. He's going to look awesome inked as well, I think, because the black really stands out here. With the black suit and stuff like that. Very, very cool artwork here of that. And I like it. So obviously I'm going to try to get that inked as well. We got a couple of Green Goblins this week. Now this one, I've been pulling a lot of these from just regular collection caches. And right when this one came out, the day that it came out, I've been pulling this one. Well, I ended up finding out. One of the people one of the people I talked to told me that because I got a message saying that you've collected a lot of variants, blah, blah, blah. It was weird. It was a weird message saying you've collected a lot of variants. So now you're going to be getting avatars. And I'm like, why the heck would I get that message? It's weird. I know, I'm not like Super Tech God. I don't have all the variants in the game. But it ends up I have all the 700 gold variants. I didn't know that. And that's probably why I was getting these then on the collection track when they come out with new ones, because they give you those, right? Like the Dan Hips, that's where they give you the pixels and and I think I have a lot of pixels. So maybe that's why that I have a lot of that. Maybe I do. Maybe I have a ton of pixels. I didn't realize I had that much, but apparently I had all the 700 gold variants. So I got this on the track. So that was cool. And I already had one split off ink, so I was able to just put this in there, but it looks pretty sick. I like it. You got the candy bag. He's kind of like this. He's dressed up like kind of an elf here. And he's got you can't tell with the colored pants, but he's got striped pants on and stuff like that. So, oh man, Dan Hip Daredevil. I love all the Dan Hips. I do. I get them whenever they come out. And this one is the red and yellow classic Daredevil. We saw him in this suit in She-Hulk, in the She-Hulk miniseries, and this is just cool. I of course, had to get this, and probably be one of the ones that I'm going to use from now on. I like the Daredevil. Daredevil is a lot of amazing variants, so the Peach Momoko one's amazing. This new Omega Red I got as well. This is a future, I forget the title. It's a future Omega Red, I think. But he kind of looks weird. He looks like a spider here. He's got like all these little tentacles below him, and he's got it almost looks like he's sitting on like it is a spider, and his arms look like kind of tendrils and stuff like that. So mostly this card I use in ongoing decks when I would play it, but he's not really in there much anymore. Another futuristic villain card. This is Craven. I like this one. He kind of doesn't look that futuristic other than his shoulder pads and the little laser whip that he's holding. But other than that, it's cool. He's got the tiger with him there. And otherwise, it almost looks like his comic book outfit with the eyes and the tiger stripes on it and stuff like that. So I kind of dug it. But it's neat. I like it. Very cool. Here's the other goblin. This one's awesome. I really like this. The pumpkin bombs coming down from above. You're getting a look at him from the ground level up. So it's almost like you're looking at the card when he's up in the air, which is really neat. And I stuck the gold on this one because I just thought it just, really made the pumpkin bombs look cool. I tried it ink, but it just didn't come off as that same flare that you would see from the card this way. So, very, very cool. This is probably now, even more than the other one, is probably my favorite Green Goblin. I really like this one. And you can see the little green, the green flare in the back there. This is Captain America. And this is, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget his name, aren't I? Oh, man. I'm going to have to look it up because now I feel bad. This is Alex Ross. How could I forget Alex Ross? He's done so many amazing comic book covers. He's like such a great painter. Yeah, this is the Alex Ross cap. Old style cap with the different type mask on and stuff like that. And Alex Ross just does his artwork and his pieces in Marvel have been tremendous. Did a series way back when called Marvels. If you haven't read it, my gosh, you're missing out. Go and check that out because it is fantastic. It's done with this kind of artwork, and he basically makes heroes look like they're real. Is the best way I can describe it. And the Marvels is so awesome. It's done through the eyes of a photographer for the Daily Bugle, and just taking pictures of famous scenes, like the scene of Spider-Man when Gwen is thrown off the bridge, and just his paintings of those scenes. It takes your breath away. It's just so good. There's a book I've really recommended on Comics Corner, but if you haven't ever seen Marvels, oh man, go read it. It is just fantastic from his perspective, and being on the ground and seeing these things happening in the air above his head, with the heroes doing their thing and all that. Giganto with the Fantastic Four, it was so good, so good, very good book. But yeah, this cool cap. I don't use cap much at all, unfortunately. I wish he was a better card, but. And my favorite cap variant, while I love this, is still the one with the black. It almost looks like black and white TV when you ink it. It's got the static background, makes it look like old, which I like. Silver Sables variant. This helped me complete an album. I only needed this variant to complete the album that came out, and which has since been rescinded. They took it away because of the symbol that was on Silver Samurai's chest. They said it was not something they meant to do. The rising sun symbol was on there. They didn't want that on there, so they're going to bring it back at another time. But I was able to sneak in and get this, and I was able to get the emoji of the Sinister Four, which is a cool little emoji. And I was able to get that because I completed the album, and I got this cool Silver Sable variant. I like it. It's very anime kind of looking variant of Silver Sable, so I dig it. The Madam Web. Now, this is the Jennifer Spider-Woman Madam Web. So not the old Spider-Woman, or I'm saying not the old Madam Web, but this is the newer version of her after the Madam Web. The older one had died during Spider-Man's The Grim Hunt. So I wanted this one. I like it. I like this better, in fact, than the main one. The old one kind of creeps me out. I don't know why, but she always did. She's this like old spinster woman with the hair pulled up into a bun. It's like you see like an old time school teacher from like the 50s and 60s that's gonna whack your hands with a ruler. But I like this version better. This is just cooler with the hood and the shades and all that kind of stuff. So I like this version of her better. But this is the Spider-Man Spider-Woman version of Madam Web. So very cool. All right, we're going to look at some bundles here. We're going to go over some upcoming bundles and whether I think that they're worth it or not. This one is a Sarah bundle. I think it's out now. Sarah and Avatar, 4,000 credits and 155 Sarah boosters, $24.99. Bundle value is 209%. This is pretty good value just because of the credits alone. The card I'm not super fond of. I don't play Sarah a lot. I don't know that anyone does unless you're playing Surfer. Not a card that I play all that much, and so really not for me. I've got a decent amount of credits. I've got over 8,000 credits or so. I don't really need that. And I've told you guys this before. Going over 10,000 credits to me is kind of dumb. It's silly because you then have to spend them all. And if not, you're going to get those annoying things where you can't collect your credits on the track, which I guess some people wouldn't care. But I lose track of that, and it's like, nah, I'd rather just keep them under the 10. But yeah, but if you like Sarah, if you want to play the card and you need the credits, it's not bad. Next one is I Am Iron Groot. This is a cute one. Groot, baby Groot with the big old Iron Man helmet on his face. People might just get this for the cuteness. This one's a gold bundle though, and I don't really think it's worth it now. That is another thing they are working on. They had mentioned today with the patch, you're going to see different gold bundles in the shop. So this isn't a lot of great value here. It's just not. For 2,400 gold, 3,000 credits, I would definitely tell you to pass on this one. But they are reworking it, so we'll see what ends up happening if they decide to do that down the road. Next up is CU Space Pirate. This is Star-Lord. Got a cowboy hat Star-Lord there, a little like Western look to him. Now this, you can get some gold here for $20, 2,400 gold. This is a pretty good deal. So if you're in the mood for gold, you're in the market for gold, this is one to probably look at. This starts on the 19th, so 2 days from today. This is a pretty good value if you want to get some gold in your stash and have some gold stashed away. This is pretty good. So whether you like the variant or not, and Star-Lord's not played much at all unless you're playing like a Guardians deck, but the gold value here is really what's worth it. I think it's pretty good. Saved Your Bacon, Spider-Ham variant, which is really cool. 3,000 tokens, 700 gold, and boosters for $34.99. So the tokens, this is one that if you want tokens, you're going to grab it. If you want tokens, that again, like I said early in the show, they're hard to come by. And so if you want to get some tokens, this is not a bad deal for the tokens themselves. Then we got Nanotech Ronin, Silver Samurai, with a Spotlight Cash Key, 2,000 gold, and this is 50. This one I don't think is a really great value. Spotlight Cash Keys don't thrill me when they put those in bundles. You're going to earn these anyway as you go. The 2,000 gold is definitely not worth it. That just goes to show you how much they value a Spotlight Key. And, of course, they're up according to Snap Zone. It is a pretty good value because that's what they value Spotlight Keys at. So I guess in this one, I will tell you, if you're into Spotlight Keys and you want it, maybe look into it. But I kind of usually ignore these. Mind Over Munch. This is Psylocke. You get the Venomized Psylocke card. And 2,400 credits, boosters, and an avatar for $15. Again, decent, I guess, for credits, but not one that I'm going to look at. I don't need the credits, and so it's not really that one that I'm going to look at. Kraven Satisfied. That Kraven is cool. I think it's a comic book Kraven there. 1,200 gold, and this is pretty good. This is good value. Really good value. $10. 1,200 gold alone is definitely worth that. And then you get the cool Kraven variant. So this is one that I would definitely look at or pay attention to. Okay, that's the bundles. That's the weekend. That's the meta. My weekend snap and the meta report. And we're gonna move on to my weekly top 5. It's time for the top 5, guys. And as you can see, remember I mentioned pixels earlier, and I have a ton more than I thought I did. Well, I used to do a little thing on my show early on called Guess the Pixel, which was kind of fun. But that kind of stuff is hard to come across to radio listeners or not radio. You see, I'm flashing back to podcast listeners because it's hard to it's hard to get that across to people that do that. So I could do it now again, actually, when I have guests and stuff on, right? But I used to do Guess the Pixel, and today I'm going to show you my top 5 pixel variants. Now, we all know we make fun of these poor things. Oh, my God, they look so hideous. I know the Hellcat one is a meme. A lot of people like it. But there are some that look pretty sweet. There really are. There are some that look, they remind me of old style video games, like going back to like Super NES games and stuff like that. Like a lot of the Final Fantasy games and stuff that I used to play. And some of the artwork is just really good on some of these pixels. So let's go through the top 5. So number 5. Wait, I might have these backwards. I'm just going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You saw it already. Ghost Rider is my number 5. Ghost Rider this is fire. Literally, he's on fire, but this is fire. This is an amazing pixel. I would not mind at all using this pixel as my main card. I've got some pretty good Ghost Rider variants. I have the Ghost Rider, the car with Robbie. What is it? Is his name Robbie? Can't remember. But I have that one with the car, which looks amazing too. But this is amazing, dude. I even put the fiery border around him, the orange border. That is just sick, right? Like the bike looks good. Everything's clear. You can see him well, the chain and all that. This is a sick variant, man. I love this. I think this is one of the coolest Ghost Rider variants that's out there. And so kudos. And it's a pixel. So go figure. My number 4, Red Skull, man. Again, the background is as clear as day. You can see buildings and stuff in back of him, holding the Tesseract in his hand. So this is the one from the MCU. You can see his face really well. You got the teeth in there in the right place, and you can see the little eagle thing on his hat. The details are just very good. The Tesseract looks like the Tesseract and stuff. So this is really, really cool. I think this is done really well. I know they have different studios, I think, that do these. But this looks awesome to me. I think this is fantastic. So that's number 4. Number 3, we need a drum roll. Jubilee. Oh my God! When I got this one, I do use this as my main one. There's no reason for me to look at another Jubilee. I like this one so much. She's in front of the X Mansion. You can see her, it looks like she's running down a path. Doesn't that give you Final Fantasy vibes? Come on. Like Final Fantasy, like, was it not the little blocky ones, but when they started coming out with the better graphics, like Final Fantasy VII, when that first came out, I mean, come on, man. That looks amazing. The cape flowing behind her, the headband and stuff like that. I think that looks tremendous. And I use this as my regular Jubilee variant all the time. So that is that one. Lady Sif, another one. I think the same studio that did Jubilee did this one. Because, I mean, look at how similar they look. And, again, she looks like a character out of an RPG that might have been made for, like, the PlayStation 1. The 2 swords, the armor and stuff like that. The backgrounds of these with all that. Looks like she's in the ice area from Thor. You see all the glaciers and stuff behind her and all that kind of stuff. Tremendous. I love this. I think this is really, really awesome. And the last one is, and we talked about him already tonight, the Green Goblin. Pumpkin Bomb. You can see the face in it, man. It's that good. You can see the smoke behind the Goblin glider. Up close, you can see the shoulder pads and stuff like that. His smile, the teeth even look right. Like the teeth, the fangs, the red, the yellow eyes, everything about it. It's very cool. The purple and green Goblin. You see the little Pumpkin Bomb strapped to his one side of his belt. This is, again, just amazingly done. And they really do some good things on some of these. Some of them look terrible. I'll admit, like I said, I just got the Blob. He looks awful. He looks like he has these little chiclet thing where his teeth should be. Like, it looks bad. But this is one of the ones that look good. So got to give the Pixel some love, man. Got to give the Pixel some love. And there you go. That is my top 5 Pixel variants. Green Goblin, Lady Sif, Jubilee, Red Skull, and Ghost Rider. I would think, though, that it is backwards. I think it was meant to be number 1 was Ghost Rider, 2 was Red Skull, 3 was Jubilee, 4 was Lady Sif, and 5 was Green Goblin. I think it was meant to be that way. So there you go. There you go. There is the top 5 Pixel variants that I enjoy. So, all right. Moving on to Comics Corner. We've got a lot to talk about today because you and I both are going to learn some stuff, because I had to go back and, like I said, I had to read a lot of these books about Aranya, because I just didn't know much about her other than like those couple mini series that she was in. So you guys and myself we're gonna learn all about Aranya, and I'm gonna tell you what books you're going to want to read. Okay. So let's start off talking a little bit about Aranya here. Aranya is 5'3". She's 115 pounds, so she's tiny. Her first appearance is an Amazing Fantasy Volume 2, number 1. This book right here was Aranya's first appearance. She's a relatively new character. Hasn't been out all that long. 2004 was her appearance in Amazing Fantasy. And I told you earlier, this book has a lot of history with Spider-Man. And, you know, this is where Spider-Man debuted. So they must have, when they decided to do this in 2004, thought a lot of Aranya to do this. Because, you know, it is they brought back that old book title and brought her back in it. So they must have thought a lot about this character and what she would be or what she would become. But anyway, so I had to go back and I had to read them because, again, I did not read these books. I know her from the Grim Hunt and I know her from some of the Spider-Verse stuff that happened. The one was where I can't remember the name of it. They took over New York City. A bunch of villains did. And the spiders had to save them and stuff like that. And yeah, I forget the name of the book, but all right. So, she was her mother. So her mother was killed when she was very young. She returned to the United States with her father. She wasn't born in the U.S., so she came over to the United States with her father. Her father is a newspaper. I think he works for a newspaper. He might be a reporter. And this is where it all began, basically, in the book, right? So she meets, and this is where the book starts. So Amazing Fantasy starts with this guy here, the trench coat, the black coat. This guy's name is Ligar. He is basically ends up coming to be who creates her and also who ends up training her. So he's kind of like her mentor, okay? And they are from something called, or he is something called, from something called, a group called the Spider Society. He's basically he's basically the hunter, he's the recruiter. He's the recruiter. She ends up being the hunter. So this is how the book starts, with him basically in the comic. You're basically seeing this guy a lot at the beginning, wondering kind of who exactly he is. And that is Aranya. This is her at school. So you can see she's not really threatening looking, very kind of tiny looking, girl in school. Just kind of plain out of the ordinary girl in school. And it goes on to show a flashback. Then, of course, that her mother passes away. She sees her mom, and of course, remembering her mother when she was a lot younger, and having memories about her mom. Now, she ends up out one night. There was a bully in school, and he bullied her friend in school. So she decided to stick up for her friend and basically threaten the bully and say, "Hey, meet me outside later on," right? So they end up doing that. They end up going out. She goes out, and the bully shows up there. But then they end up in the middle of a big conflict. And the conflict is with Ligar is in there fighting off this other group. And that guy with the tusks and stuff on is part of the other group. And you can see Ligar behind her. She gets thrown into the middle of the fight and gets stabbed by this big dude with the rhino horns or bull, whatever they are, on the sides of his face. And he ends up running her through, basically, and stabbing her. She, of course, she falls down, and then they do this, and I think I have this in another slide here. Yeah, they do this. He does this to save her, basically, this ritual to make sure that she doesn't die. He ends up giving her a tattoo, a blue tattoo on her arm that will end up giving her powers. So he basically saves her, and then she ends up getting these spider powers. So not the same as Peter Parker. Very, very different from Peter Parker. This is just a little scene with her dad. It's just him, a little banter with her going back and forth. That's her father there, calling her, she doesn't like the name. "Quit calling me Aranya." Should I use Aranya instead now? So that just a little conversation with her and her dad. So that's when he healed her. And then this happens later in her bedroom. She goes home and basically, was bleeding out, and he heals her, and she ends up back home. And in when she's in the house, she's in her bedroom and she's sleeping. And when she's sleeping, she's dreaming that the spider webbing is like everywhere and like all over her and stuff like that. You can see she's covered in it here, and she's kind of like busting out of this. It's almost like a cocoon that she's busting out of. And when she wakes up the next morning, you could see it really wasn't a dream. When she wakes up, her father's knocking on the door to get her up and asking if he could come in. And of course, she's yelling no, because she looks at her room and she sees all the webbing. There's webbing on her TV. There's webbing all over the place there. So that what happened to her was real. She was in that webbing cocoon that she broke out of, and now it's just covering everything in her room. So, of course, she couldn't let her dad into the room. And now this is a little later on. She joins the Spider Society. She ends up coming to this big office building where they're kind of hanging out. That Ligar is there with a whole bunch of other people that are there. There's a computer nerd that works for them and stuff like that. And they're all just kind of hanging out there. She ends up coming, and you can see, on the wall there, they have Spider-Woman there. I believe that might be Carnage on the wall as well. But she's just kind of walking down a hallway, just kind of seeing all these pictures and stuff. So they may have been people that the Spider Society were trying to recruit at one point, or also be enemies of them, which of course, probably the reason Carnage is up there. I think the one on the right is that might be Scarlet Spider on the right of the picture. Then you go here, and this is where I was talking about the training part of it. He takes her out to a desert. Now, by this time, she's got her little costume. She basically makes herself a costume. She has the goggles on her head, which is part of her costume. She wears the vest, and she's got these gauntlets, gloves that she wears as well. So she's out here, and basically Ligar just abandons her. He drops her in the Mexican desert. Hey, Blaze, how are you? Nah, no worries, man. You're good. We're just doing comics. We're talking about Aranya. So thanks for coming, man. I appreciate that. So he leaves her out there, and basically just in the middle of the desert, she gets attacked by coyotes. But then she learns that she's gained enhanced strength and the agility and ability to manifest a protective blue exoskeleton, which you see right here. So she now is able to, when she's threatened, she generates this exoskeleton on her arms, of course, over her head, her shoulders, her chest, and then on her legs. Only thing that's really exposed is her midriff there, where the shirt is up a little bit. But yeah, so that is what she does. Those are her powers. Is she can pull out that exoskeleton and protect herself if anything is trying to harm her. So that is one of her biggest powers. And then later on in the comic, she chooses her name. Now this is, like I said, this is a series of 6 comics. So I'm just kind of rolling through this. This is Amazing Fantasy 1 through 6. But she chooses the name Aranya. And she says it was my mother's maiden name. So that's why she picks the name Aranya. The father used to call her that. She didn't like it. But then she ends up choosing that as her superhero name. And there she is in all her glory. You see those little things that she has? They're bolas that she creates herself. They're little spider bolas. They're, of course, sharp on the edges as a bola would be. And she carries those with her as a weapon. She kind of uses that as a weapon as well. And there she is with her outfit. Of course, she has her backpack, the spider shirt, the sneakers, and, of course, the blue pants. So that is Aranya in the comics. And check out, I would definitely tell you, because this is how I went and did it. If you're not familiar with her, go back and read Amazing Fantasy 1 through 6. You'll get to know her whole story from that. That's really the best way to do it, because you can go and read the little one-offs and things, but you're not going to get much of her. She, the things that she was in, she wasn't starring in like she was in her own book. So if you want to really learn about her, check these out. They're on Marvel Unlimited. That's where I got them. If you don't have that app, you can get these on Comixology, and many of them, because they're this old, are cheaper. Amazon Comixology, spelled Comixology. You can get many, many books there, as I have in the past. But like I said, these here are sometimes 99 cents because they're a little bit older. So If you want to find out more about Aranya, you can check that out. Okay. The society asked Aranya not to tell her father of the recent events, so said hush hush not to tell her dad. He became suspicious of her behavior, demanded he meet her superior in WebCorps. So WebCorps is this thing that she joined. That's their name is WebCorps. And Ligar met him to calm him down. So he tried to calm down her dad. Having her father's approval, so he finally did give her approval, Aranya joined her co-workers from WebCorps, Ligar, Ted, and Nina on a mission to prevent the sisterhood from empowering their own hunter. So they go up against these other groups of criminals and stuff like that. Oh, hello, Maria. How are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. She was part of the registered heroes during Civil War. So she was one of the registered heroes in Civil War. Though she never took part in any of the battles, and she was still considered a trainee, although Carol, now this is Carol, they're talking about Ms. Marvel. Carol brought her along to observe as Julia Carpenter was taken in and separated from her daughter, which had Anya concerned she was on the wrong side. After the battle, she became something of a sidekick to Ms. Marvel. So she was Ms. Marvel's sidekick for a little bit. During this time, her carapace was ripped off her body by the Doomsday Man. So that shell that I showed you guys that she gets was completely ripped off her body by Doomsday Man, leaving her unable to use it when she was confronted and attacked by Julia Carpenter shortly after while she was looking for her daughter. She's also captured by Puppet Master alongside other female superhumans to be used and sold as mind-controlled sex slaves. Yikes. But was freed from his control by Ms. Marvel after being unable to attack Carol due to seeing her as a mother figure. Despite being depowered, she continued to fight crime. Even though swinging had become more difficult, it was around then that she became friends with Nomad. Now this is her as Spider-Girl. So she ended up changing her outfit. She went with the black mantle of Spider-Girl. She took up the black costume that Spider-Girl was wearing, and that was the Spider-Girl who had replaced Madam Web. So it kind of comes in a circle here, right? Later, she was hunted by the Kravinoff family. Now, this was during the Grim Hunt for their conquest to kill all the spiders and resurrect Kraven. That's a pretty good story too. More recent, but yeah, they basically wanted to just kill off all the spiders from the Spider-Verse and just kill them all and resurrect Kraven. This was how they're going to resurrect the original Kraven, because of course Kraven in Kraven's Last Hunt, who I told you guys to go read, that is my favorite black costume Spider-Man book. He shot himself to death. He basically took a shotgun to his, just killed himself. So they're trying to resurrect him. Along with Arachne and Madam Web, she was captured along with those two. And Spider-Woman, Maddie Franklin. Now, this Maddie Franklin Spider-Woman was sacrificed. So Maddie Franklin, the other Spider-Woman, died. After Kane is a bit. I wonder if we'll ever get a Kane card. We might. Kane is in all this Spider-Verse stuff. Big hulking dude. Kane was. Oh boy. Clone Saga. Quick little thing, right? The Clone Saga, which I'm going to talk a lot more about next week when Scarlet comes out, because Spider-Man had clones that were created by the Jackal, way back in like the 70s comics. And then they end up coming back into play during the whole Clone Saga. Now, some people like the Clone Saga, some people hate it. I didn't mind it. It got a little weird at the end, but basically there were two clones. There was the clone that became Scarlet Spider. There's another clone that became Kane. So he is a clone of Spider-Man as well, but he was disfigured and just didn't look right and stuff like that. And this is all because of the Jackal making these clones. So anyway, so that's who Kane is. Spider-Man went after the Kraven family. Madam Web was mortally wounded. That's when she died, and gave her powers to Julia. So that's Julia Carpenter before passing, to stop Spider-Man from killing the newly revived Kraven. Julia gave Anya a new costume, but she continued to go by Aranya. Later, she and Nomad become allied with another group of super teens, referred to contextually as the Young Allies. They battled the Bastards of Evil. Ooh, that's mean. Then they teamed up with the Secret Avengers to take on Onslaught, who was eventually defeated when Nomad sacrificed herself for the greater good. Later on, they came into conflict with Arcade. Oh, Arcade needs to be in this game. While at the same time teaming up with fellow teen heroes from the Avengers Academy. Spider-Woman Jessica Drew, who is now Madam Web, I believe, yes? I think so. Am I right? Maybe not. Called her Spider-Girl, another in a long list to get her identity wrong since she changed her costume. This led to Anya officially becoming Spider-Girl to avoid confusion. Her powers: she has superhuman strength. Her strength is large at her stage in her heroism. Her strength may also be increasing because she's quickly able to subdue Arachne, who can lift 10 tons. However, following the events of Spider Island, that's another Spider book that she had taken place in. Her strength increased to a level comparable to Spider-Man's, if slightly less. So she got very much stronger over the years. She has superhuman speed, can run and move at speeds that are beyond the physical limits of the finest human athletes, who are capable of running at speeds in excess of 30 miles an hour. Her body is physically tougher and more resistant to some types of injury than the body of a normal human. Her body is she can withstand great impacts, as falling from a height of several stories and being struck by an opponent with super strength that would severely injure or kill a normal human. Superhuman stamina, agility, balance, body coordination, superhuman reflexes. She has the ability to camouflage and hide in shadows, wall crawling. She does have the ability to cling to walls. And organic webbing generation. She has the ability to organically produce her own silk webbing from her glands with her forearms, limited by her body's health and nutrition. So there you go. Creators. Got to give the credit to the creators of her. She was created by Joe Quesada, a very, very famous Spider-Man guy over many, many years. Fiona Avery and Mark Brooks were the people who created her. So always think about the creators when you're talking about comic books. So yeah, if you want to read it, check out Amazing Fantasy. Like I said, it's Amazing Fantasy from 2000 and go back here and get the date. 2004, Amazing Fantasy 2004. So check it out if you want to learn more about the card you are going to play. So. All right, so that is the Comics Corner and everything you wanted to know or needed to know about Anya. Cool. All right. So we're going to look at the card now. Anya, she is out. I'm sure many of you played with it already. If you're in the chat, let me know what you think. If you played Anya, do you like it? She is a 1/1. Activate. Give the next card you play +2 power and move it to the right. I only got to try her in Surfer, which works very, very well, by the way. You now can have Surfer and Forge in a Surfer deck, which is so she's going to give +2 power just like Forge does, but she does it whenever you want to activate it. So if you don't get your Brood until later in the game, you can give the Brood you can play Forge earlier, use him for something else, and play her and activate her whenever you want to. And it also moves a card to the right. So it moves to the right. So that's kind of cool too, because you can move those Brood around a little bit. Sometimes they get all stuck in that lane. You kind of fill up your lanes too fast. Now you can move one of them away from there. So she's pretty good in that. I don't know if people are playing her in Move. I didn't get to really watch any videos on her or anything like that yet to see what they were doing. Again, I did see someone playing her in a Phoenix Force deck with Nimrod. You can activate her. Give the Nimrod the +2, use it in a Shuri lane if you want, and then just smash that with the Venom and the Carnage. I got her with 1 key. Haven't had a chance to. You got a 1 key. Awesome, man. Got to give you some applause for the 1 key. Gotta love the 1 key pulls, dude. I spent tokens on this one. I didn't necessarily need any of the cards because I'm collection complete. So, and the Sage variant, I know some people wanted, but I was like, I didn't want to. I'm saving my keys up. So I'm gonna wait for the next couple. But yeah, congrats, dude. That's not an easy thing to do. So that's awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna obviously try her a little bit more and see. But I think pretty sure she's gonna be pretty steady in Surfer as a staple card in a Surfer deck. But she can just play in so many decks. Now you may see, like we've been seeing Madam Web, like that one deck I showed earlier with the Lockjaw. Madam Web is in that deck, right? To move the stuff out of the Lockjaw lane. She can do the same. She can just move stuff around. So people might find different uses for her just besides just like Silver Surfer or something along those lines. So I think she's going to be pretty good. And a lot of people had her pegged as their #1 card this month. So I don't know about that. We'll have to see. My rankings of these might be all strange because I had Madam Web as #1. She kind of disappointed a little bit to me. I don't think she was as good as I think a lot of people wanted her or thought she was going to be. So, and then this card, a lot of people have her pegged as it because basically she's a Forge, like Forge used to be. She's a 1/1. Forge used to be a 1. They nerfed him, and then they changed him. So, you would think with that kind of strength plus the ability to move, she's going to just be better. Played her against her to move. There was it standard move plays, standard move deck, or was it Phoenix Force or something like that? I wonder if they're using her in just standard move lists, like with Dagger and Human Torch and all that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, obviously you can make a really big Human Torch with her. You're giving 2 power to that Human Torch. You're moving it, Madam Webbing it, all that kind of stuff. You just play a really, really big Human Torch. Those decks now even are playing Tribunal in the deck because you basically want to focus on one big card. Like you might have a big Human Torch or a really big Dagger standard move. Yeah, I could see that. You might have them in, just out there, just 2 big, gigantic cards. And unless one of them gets shanked, you're going to win with the Tribunal. So probably pretty smart. I think it's kind of even a better option maybe than Heimdall. I know a lot of people love moving Heimdall, but you don't necessarily need it in decks that are constructed like this. Especially when you can move them around with Madam Web and stuff like that. So maybe have Hercules in there. She probably is going to work also with a Spider-Man 2099 as well, make them a little bigger. So that could kill, bigger things in the lane if you want to. There's a variant, her variants. That's the one that's in the spotlights. So if you did manage to get her, you want to go back for the spotlight variant, which I can't see why you would want to do that and waste keys. But hey, if you do, go right ahead. They didn't have the hang of her yet. Screwed up the timing. Easy win for me. That's why I don't play move, man. I am not a fan of that at all. I do not like playing move. And that's part of the reason why is because I don't have the patience for it. And I don't know, maybe I don't have the brains for it. I don't know. I just don't. It is not a favorite deck of mine. And I'm probably never, ever, ever going to play it. I tried it when I had to do it for the missions. And oh my God, it was the hardest missions for me to get through because I didn't realize people were playing her in different decks. And I hated it. So here's another cool one. This is, I believe this is in the black suit costume. So this is the Spider-Woman or Spider-Girl version of Aranya on here. So that's kind of cool. I like how they're giving her the different outfits that she's been. Spotlight Cash, not a bad one. Not a bad one. If you need Sage, Sage is really good. If you need Sage, it's a nice variant. If you need her, and you need Ms. Marvel. It's great when it works when you don't get your draws, though. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. When if you don't have Ms. Marvel's actually making a little bit of a comeback in some of those ongoing lists that I showed you earlier as well. Playing in the ongoing decks. Of course, she is an ongoing, so it helps her too. So they're kind of she's making a little bit of a comeback, and pretty cool Ms. Marvel, although I have a lot of pretty cool variants for her. So that's why I skipped it. I already have a pretty good variant of Sage, and I have a few good ones for Ms. Marvel. So I did end up skipping this. But if you do need those cards, if you need Sage and you need Ms. Marvel, yes, I would tell you to open up for it because I think Aranya is going to be pretty good overall. Okay, so that is the Spotlight Caches. We're getting close to the end of the show here, but before we do get to the MCU minute, I just have a couple other things in Snap that I want to just show you guys. This is the Doc Ock variant. Again, my green screen's not going to do it justice or let you see it very well, but this is the Doc Ock variant that came out today. Used the gold on it. It's pretty cool. I like him, the one in the white suit. It's all dressed up for success there. This is the inked version, which I kind of like better. I like the ink version of this a little bit better than I do the other ones. I'll give you an example of some comics that are coming out soon. The Pet Pool Party. This is actually a comic book that's coming out in the future. And he's laying there with a bunch of dead soldiers, and the Deadpool pets are all around him. And then we're getting Alligator Loki. Alligator Loki is coming out too. Of course, these may be a little oriented for kids, of course, but this one, oh man, What If is coming back in January in the comics. They're calling it a prism of endless possibility. I like that. A prism of endless possibility. Look who's in issue 1. Oh my God, it's Galactus. And the what if is, what if Galactus chose a different herald? So not Silver Surfer, someone else. What if he chose a different herald? I love it, man. The G-Man's coming back. A big face right on the cover there. We got. There's a cool. I think it's coming out during the We Are Venom month. Cool variant of him that is the Carnage. The Carnage Venom. The Carnage Galactus. So, and it looks freaking awesome. So you guys all know how much I love the G-Man. So I saw that today and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So, all right. Also, now this is nothing to do with Snap, but I know I talk about this a lot. So I wanted to show off some of this because in past, when I've had some people on and creators or other creators and so on and so forth, we tend to talk a lot about Magic. So I want to show you. This is now. I don't own these cards anymore, so many of these are recreations. But let me tell you something. Holy cow, they are printed up so nicely that like you can't tell the damn difference. But I want to show some of these to you. These are the Magic cards that I played with, and this was my deck that I played back in the day. So the first one, his name is Juzam Dejin. He's a 5/5 for 4 cost, and his drawback is you take 1 damage during each turn that you have it. I had them in there. These were devastating. When you know your opponent only has 20 life, and this card is a 5/5, it's going to hit the floor pretty early in the game too. Now here's some stuff. Now this one here, it's called Mind Twist. This was my favorite card in the game. Very, very broken. It's 1 black and X to cast. And the X means you can use as ever much as you have in mana to cast it. Opponent must discard X cards at random from their hand. At random. If opponent doesn't have enough cards in hand, entire hand is discarded. I can't tell you how many times I use this card to discard my entire opponent's hand on turn 1. You have no hand, you can't play the game. And you're going to lose. I made a lot of people very upset with that card. This card here. Now I wish I kept my cards because I had the beta version of this. This is a Black Lotus. Black Lotus in Magic, one of the most expensive Magic cards, if not the most expensive card out there. I had a beta Black Lotus, which is now selling, by the way, on eBay, if you look it up, for about $150,000. Oh, man. Anyway, this is a reproduction of it, but add 3 mana of any color to your choice to your mana pool. And then this was basically an artifact that you laid down for 0 and got 3 of any mana. Broken. This is called a Mox. These were Moxes that gave you 1 of any color mana for 0. This is a black one, so they have 1 for each color. So this gives you 1 black mana for 0 cost. Broken cards. All of them broken cards. This is a Chaos Orb. This card here, you would take and you'd flip it. 2 cost. You'd flip it up in the air. Whatever cards it landed on that your opponent had on the table, it destroys. I can't tell you. I told the one massacre of a time I flipped it, and I was nervous, I guess, and I flipped it and it flipped back on mine and destroyed my cards. But the Black Lotus, just to see it, these cards are just a broken. They had a thing called a Power 9, which consisted of blue cards. This is Ancestral Recall. This is the one called Time Walk that lets you take an extra turn. This one is called Time Twister, which basically lets you draw a new hand. And then you have the other Mox colors, the Mox Emerald, the Mox Ruby. They all had different, so red, blue, green, all that. Mox Sapphire, and a Mox Jet, or Pearl, which was for white. So They gave you all like different colors and stuff like that. So I just wanted to show those to you. This is, just when I used to play Magic back in the day. This was just some of the cards that I used. And yeah, like these cards you just don't see anymore. And those cards that I showed you, the real expensive ones, they go for a tremendous amount of money. So yeah. So thank you. That's I know that was not Snap, but just figured I would talk to you a little bit about my Magic cards there. Okay. Last section, guys, and we're in the home stretch here. We have the MCU Minute. So we're going to talk a little bit about the MCU and some of the stuff that's coming up in Marvel. So we have got a Hulk and Hawkeye are rumored to return to the MCU for new solo projects. So this is from HW Scoops Film News, has suggested that both Mark Ruffalo and Jeremy Renner will return to the MCU after Avengers Secret Wars to reprise their respective roles of Bruce Banner, Incredible Hulk, and Clint Barton Hawkeye. The former will reportedly return for that long-awaited Hulk solo movie, while the latter would reappear in a second season of Disney Plus series Hawkeye. So that's kind of cool. Jeremy Renner was injured and not really, wasn't doing well for a little while, and Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, I didn't know whether we we're going to see him much anymore. But there you go. So they are rumored to be returning after all the events of Secret Wars happen. So kind of neat that they're both coming back. And I did like the Hawkeye series, the first series of that. I did enjoy that. And of course, that's where we got Kate Bishop. And so it'll be cool to see them both back. And we'll see. Maybe the Ruffalo movie will be World War Hulk or something along those lines. We'll have to see what it's going to be. But yeah, so that's cool. And then this, Null. That is Null. Null was shown in the latest Venom trailer. So the latest trailer for Venom, the newest trailer that came out for Venom. And now the rumor is that, yes, he's going to be shown in that series, but he is not going to be really the main villain in that series. But the rumors are that he is coming back to be in Spider-Man 4. So a lot of people wondering about what was happening with Spider-Man. They were saying it was going to maybe be like a grounded movie. It's not going to be the case now, apparently. They are going to go with the Null War thing in Spider-Man 4. Makes some sense because he'll join up with Tom Hardy in that film. And then, Sony probably I'm sure Sony was kind of delaying a lot of things for Spider-Man for Marvel. And they must have really given in to Sony here, kind of let them have their way with some of the things. And so you're going to see Tom Hardy's Venom and Peter Parker from Marvel, Tom Holland's Peter Parker together, which we did get alluded to in that last Venom film. But you are going to be seeing them together in Spider-Man 4, the rumors are. Now, the reason why people are saying that too is because they just did some reshoots for Venom, which comes out soon. And Tom Holland was in the office doing the reshoots for a movie, he said. He didn't say which. So you're thinking it was probably maybe a post-credit scene that he's going to be in. But in any case, Spider-Man 4 looks like it's going to be something with Carnage. And again, remember, that's going to take place on Battle World. So it would make sense that, if Null comes down to that world, or if he's out in that world, maybe he gets pulled into that world somehow, that could be just like a side story for that. And it's also probably going to be where Peter's going to get the symbiote. Maybe they'll kill off Tom Hardy in that film, and then they maybe move on with Peter, and that's how they'll hand off the symbiote to Tom Holland, and he'll end up getting the symbiote. He got that in Secret Wars, but they're not going to do it the same way. He got it in Secret Wars in the comics. It was a little bit weird. He got it from a machine that he found in this alien world. Just pressed a button because he needed a new suit. So he's like, oh, let me see if this machine will give me a suit. And it spits out this little black ball, basically. And it was the symbiote that was in that machine and basically latched on to Peter. But he thought it was just an outfit or just a costume when he found out much, much later it wasn't. So yeah. So that's your little MCU minute. That's some stuff going on in the MCU. Of course, there's also some rumors of some bad news. It looks as if Blade with Mahershala Ali is going to be either canceled or just very much put off. That they're not really talking. And Armor Wars as well. Don Cheadle came out. They asked him about Armor Wars, and he said, "What are you talking about, Armor Wars?" So apparently that might be on the chopping block as well, or something put off for a long time ago, or a long time away from now. So yeah, so there you go. So that is the MCU Minute for this week's episode. All right. All I've got left for you guys is, again, make sure you check out the Agatha series, which starts tomorrow with, of course, Catherine Hahn and Scarlett Witch's son will be in that as well. How he gets there, I don't know. He's also older in it, so you got to watch to find out. That starts tomorrow with 2 episodes. And then if you're a comic book fan or a Batman fan, the Penguin series comes out the next day after that. So very pretty. Very pretty. Very cool week in comic books, on television and on series and stuff like that. So Marvel is back on Disney Plus. Check out the Agatha series. I know that Snap is playing that up. They have a lot of stuff dedicated to Agatha, of course, in the alliances and stuff like that. So yeah, so just a big day, guys, in Marvel Snap. A lot of stuff happened today. And as always, I hope you enjoy it. However you choose to play, what you're playing. Hope you have fun with the new card and Naranya. We've got one more new card next week, and that is Scarlet Spider, and I'll be talking all about him and that massive Clone Wars saga next week on this very program, along with the Meta Report, another top 5. Guys, if you have any suggestions for my top 5s, please let me know that on Twitter. Make sure to follow me on there, on the X at Snap Decisions 53. Make sure, if you're watching here, please sub to the channel. If you haven't done so already, make sure you drop a like on the video for me as well. I would really appreciate that. Leave me comments there also. I will answer any comment that you might leave. And, of course, thank you to all of those who came out tonight, Gungrave, Maria, and Blaze1, for dropping in the stream. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And for those of you that are listening on audio, thank you as well for listening to the show. Now, I think I am probably done for this week after today. I was going to do a patch review, but now that I did it on here, I really don't need to do that. So I'm probably going to be done for this week. I don't think I will have any guests this week. I do have Fawthorne Newman coming on soon. I do have Regis Kilbin, the great Regis Kilbin, who's going to be on my show in mid-October. So I do have guests that will be back on and coming soon. I'll see. I don't know. Maybe I will try to work in a guest maybe later this week on the show, just to have a guest on. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. So keep watch on the Twitter. And yeah, so enjoy your week in Snap. Have fun. Enjoy all the amazing stuff and all the cards and all that good stuff. Enjoy Snap however you choose to play it. And hopefully I will talk to you guys all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. Have a great rest of your week. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And hopefully I will talk to you on the next one. This is your Snap DJ signing off.
If only I had Spidey senses.